I am the Millennial Trader. You're tuned into the Millennial Trader YouTube channel. Today is March 27th, 2025. We're getting to the end of the month, end of the quarter. A lot of things have been happening in the crypto space over the past few weeks since I last posted a video. I've been holding off on posting anything recently just because there hasn't been much to talk about other than the typical tariffs that Donald Trump continues to harp about and move markets in a meaningful way. So this week we're going to take a look at 5 coins: Bitcoin, Ethereum, check back in on Solana. It's been about a month since I looked at this coin. Similarly, we're going to take a look at Doge. Check back in and see what the charts tell us currently about the potential altcoin space. And then a new coin that I'm going to take a look at this week is TRX or Tron. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, click the notification button, like the video, comment below if there's any coins that you want me to take a look at in the subsequent episode. Let me know and I'll do my best to include that as part of the typical basket of crypto coins that I look at. And then aside from the 5 coins, we're going to take a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart just to get a sense of where we are, where we stand, and whether or not things are changing for the better. And that's the headline for this particular episode: is the bottom finally in? And we'll take a look at that as we go through the video. Okay, so just give me a minute. Let me set myself up. All right, so every episode I generally like to look at the Bitcoin dominance chart. It gives me a sense of the overall sentiment of the market, whether we are in a risk on or risk off environment, and that generally indicates how dominant or how significant the Bitcoin volume is relative to all of the other coins in the crypto space. So again, as I continue to mention every episode, the Bitcoin dominance just continues to increase over time. And for the number of weeks that I've been posting YouTube videos, we can see that the trajectory of Bitcoin's dominance just continues to rise again and again. We're getting close to the levels of historically high pivot points. So, I can't necessarily make heads or tails at the current point in time, but I do know that we definitely aren't in altcoin season, and that probably has to do a lot with the fact that there are rug pulls happening on a daily basis in the crypto coin space, and more specifically coins being created with no intrinsic value, no utility, no overall volume, and over a few days the coin collapses, and people that invested in it hoping for home runs in the long term pretty much lose their entire capital. So it's important to remain cautious in terms of the new coins that are being created, or the coins that you hear every now and then, and the significant jumps and gaps up, because oftentimes they're short-lived, and I generally only stay within the top 20 coins, excluding stable coins and stuff like that, because I they're in a separate category that offer a different utility or purpose. But at this point in time, there is nothing there is nothing going on in the altcoin space, other than to say that the divergence between Ethereum and Bitcoin is at one of its highest points in a very long time. So that's notable. Whether this divergence reverses and we see Ethereum come back, it's has yet to be seen. But we're generally in the area of all-time highs in terms of the dominance and the divergence of these two coins. So it's notable. I generally, and we'll go through the charts, but my call for 2025 has been Ethereum's outperformance of Bitcoin. So we'll see whether that comes to fruition. But that was my original call at the beginning of the year, as I saw certain things in the market utilizing a combination of institutional models as well as traditional technical analysis tools and Far East indicator Ichimoku clouds in terms of just how I interpret the market. So with that, we'll go straight into the charts. We'll kind of pick up from where we left off about 2 weeks ago. And generally speaking, when we're looking at Bitcoin, we've been trading within these two long descending channels. And so price has kind of just been contained and holding in this particular channel. What's notable is that from the all-time high to the most recent low, that was a little over 25% drawdown. So originally, back when I saw the 95,731 level break, I exited my position completely and I reloaded virtually at the low, plus or minus a few $1,000s. So I saved myself a significant amount of drawdown. Granted, I was profitable. I took a small loss, on the position, but I bought a significant amount of Bitcoin at 83,500. So I'm happy with the position. Ideally, I'm still looking for Bitcoin to potentially come back down to 69,000, which is most likely, which would very much be a retest of the previous all-time highs and where it was just consolidating for effectively 10 months before we shot up to where we currently are. And we're just kind of hanging in and around here. And no matter what has happened in the market in terms of good news, it hasn't resulted in the coin, making new all-time highs. So, we're currently on a -7 of 9 count. So potentially we could complete this to a -9, at which point that could ultimately result in a change in the direction of the coin coming back up. But at this point in time, I don't necessarily want to put on any new exposure because for me, from a long-term point of view, I'm really hoping for that 69 or even $70,000 retest. And so I think at that point in time, that would effectively mark the low for Bitcoin for a significant amount of years, if not ever. And I say that because some of the biggest institutions and some of the biggest or most well-known companies and individuals have an average cost of around 69,000. So should it ever get below that point, then I think you have liquidity issues. You potentially have other concerns in terms of the overall utility of the coin, because at that point many sovereign nations and very well-known figures in the crypto space would have a lot of explaining to do in terms of whether or not they're holding or liquidating their positions. So at this point in time, my bias is still for the bulls, but me being a little bit more pickier, and because I don't, I'm not running or managing investors' money, I'm not forced to buy the coin at any particular level, and I would much rather wait for a retest of that $70,000 if we ever get it, or even back to this 82,000 mark right here, which is utilizing absolute retracement, a model developed by Tom DeMark, which is based off of the Fibonacci technical analysis tool. That's risk reward, I think, an area where I may want to do a little bit more buying, but ultimately I'm waiting for the completion of the 9 count to effectively determine what my next move will or will not be. So at the time being, I'm not doing anything. Overall, this is still just consolidating for basically the first three months of the year, trading within this channel. We were consolidating up in and around this $95,000 to $100,000 level for 3 months, and then we ultimately broke down and we're kind of just hanging in and around these two levels between 96 and 82 or 83. So a wide gap, nothing really to do right now. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say at this point in time. MACD is still negatively bearish. The momentum continues to actually widen a little bit, which again is the reason why I'm kind of waiting and not necessarily doing anything, doing any more buying other than the rebuy that I did at 83,500. Okay, let's take a look at Ethereum. So definitely a different looking chart. From the models that I use, sequential, combo, and even utilizing absolute retracement, I would say we're definitely closer to a bottom compared to Bitcoin. And again, this -9 exhaustion signal printed, but it wasn't necessarily the signal to continue to get long, which was a little bit foolish of me because I was thinking that was going to be the level at which Ethereum would kind of hold and retrace. But I think we're ultimately going to complete to a -13, which would effectively be a full exhaustion. And I have this purple horizontal area marked because that would effectively be the high going back to 2018. And should we actually get to that price again, which theoretically could actually happen because we're only like $400 away. I think at that point in time, I would do some significant buying because I think you've effectively trapped almost 6 years of buyers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, a little over 6 years of buyers who have bought up here at the previous peak and the most recent peak back here, going back to about, what was it, towards the end of 2024. And what's notable is the fact that $4,000 seems to be a critical or a very difficult level to breach with any significant momentum to the upside. So I think we're kind of range bound in between these areas and I ultimately think that we need to kind of flush down to close to $1,650, $1,700 before, we finally get full capitulation. And then from there, we'll see where price kind of moves afterwards. But from a long-term point of view, $1,600 or $1,600 to $1,700, that's where I'll do the biggest amount of buying, playing for my own career, or my own investment planning and retirement planning there. So for me, nothing really to do here. Even if you were looking to short, I would say that you're probably getting closer to um, low risk, high risk, low reward, playing for a few $100s to the downside. So at this point in time, there's really nothing to do other than just wait, and kind of just have price resolve itself. Okay, the next coin is Solana. So I haven't looked at this coin in about a month, and granted, back when I originally looked at it, probably, 8 weeks, I noticed that there was likely a peak that had formed in Solana, and obviously since the the plus 13 exhaustion signal printed to the upside, we have been just moving down for over 9 weeks. And I think, again, similarly to Ethereum, I think this needs to kind of complete a -9 count, which could potentially happen at this 110 level, at which point it may be worth a shot, potentially buying some Solana at that point in time. And I think it's reasonable because you'll notice a whole bunch of different lines. So I put on the Ichimoku clouds, which is a Far East technical analysis indicator that basically the entire eastern part of the world uses as their foundation and basis for technical analysis and trading. And each of these lines just represent different support and resistance areas. The cloud being the space between the green and the red lines represents potential uncertainty, or just an inability, or an inability to kind of know the direction. But generally speaking, when price touches the bottom of the cloud and holds, that generally indicates a good low to potentially scale into. And the fact that on bar 5, which happened the week of March 10th, it touched but did not close below it, that was a good risk reward to potentially, buy some, with the potential continuation to the top of the cloud up here. But I think generally speaking, this needs to finish to a -9 count, and then you'll probably get the support of the cloud, the bottom of the cloud, which should hold, and you could potentially play for a move, hopefully back up to this 184 level. But notice how, I'm just going to take the cloud off for a second. Notice that we haven't actually printed a -13 to the downside for, I would say, for almost 3 years. The last time that happened was in and around, let me just make this bigger, probably the last bear market for crypto into 2022, ending in 2022. So, do I think that Solana could potentially retest that low? It's possible. I know that a lot of the altcoins are using the Solana network as their on-chain activity. So I would say the longer that the altcoins continue to underperform, and we don't have an altcoin season, then the higher probability or chance that Solana probably completes a -13 count. And where exactly does that happen? I'm not too sure, but one tool that I could potentially use to identify that potential low is, give me a second, I just need to refresh my screen. So what I did was I based from the or from the last uh, +9 exhaustion signal completed, I used the absolute retracement, which is a function of the Fibonacci tools, which just extends price down to potential areas of support. And so right now we've effectively retraced 50% of this move. And should price fail to hold, then I think it's more likely that we're probably going to retrace all the way down to this 0.382 level, at which point, you're effectively, you would have effectively retraced almost 62% from all-time highs. So I think that's potentially where we're going. But again, at this point in time, really, there's nothing for you as an individual trader, especially like if you're looking to go long, um, to potentially do right now. And I would refrain from entering new longs until the completion of that -9, or and better yet, if we get down to this 110 level, I think that's probably risk reward better. But ideally, I'd probably wait until this $100 level hits, because at that point, then you've effectively trapped um, not only the last year of buyers, but anybody that had bought back in late 2021, they are still effectively underwater. And you really only have this pool of investors or speculators back in 2022 to 2020 to the end of 2023, um, anywhere remotely profitable. So nothing to do at this point in time. If you're looking to go, if you're looking to short the coin, again, like you could potentially still make about 30%. If you're playing down to that $100 level. So I think that might be a little bit more reasonable, but um, you kind of just have to pick and choose where you're willing to short at, and if you're wrong, what that level effectively is. So for me, because I would say most of the platforms don't allow you to do that unless you're taking on margin, or and in those cases, some of the platforms might give you 50 or 100x margin. You really have to be confident in how you trade cryptocurrencies, because overnight, this coin could potentially move up another $10 kind of thing. So um, I would refrain. I would not be in the coin until we complete a -9, and I'm not currently in the coin. So that's all I'll have to say for that. All right, so let's take a look at Doge. So interestingly, what caught my eye was the fact that just recently, as you'll see here, we completed a -9 count to the downside. So assuming that we continue to hold this level, that could effectively be a potential area to bottom. And notice how, looking at the lagging line, which is basically the closing price, current closing price projected 26 periods into the past. Again, it's also still above the baseline. The baseline is important because it is a longer standing moving average, in that it looks at the past It's the midpoint of the last 26 trading periods. So it's a lot stronger in terms of being acting as potential support or resistance compared to the conversion line, which is the midpoint of the past 9 trading periods. So the conversion line is a much faster moving average, and essentially it just shows you the momentum of current price. So we can see that price has been going down steeply, which reflects the current trading activity. The moving average is a lot more difficult, or takes a lot, just a lot more difficult to kind of move, because you're utilizing a larger trading, uh, you're utilizing a larger or a longer time frame to effectively act as that support and resistance. And so long as we continue to hold this what is this, point 1434 level, I would tend to say that that's probably a good area to do some decent buying. And if I'm not mistaken, from the all-time highs to where we're currently trading, that wouldn't surprise me if we are like 60%. Yeah, so we've effectively retraced almost 62% from the all-time highs. So again, risk reward, you could do some minor buying with um, the majority of your buying potentially being done at this point 1434 level, and then you have a really tight stop loss under 12, at 12 cents, because you're effectively risking 2 cents. And should it breach that level, then I think you have a much bigger concern, because effectively everybody, since 2021, would be effectively underwater. And I also recognize that Doge really has no utility. I think the white paper itself says that there's no utility, and the fact that there's an infinite amount of coins that could potentially circulate over time. Again, I think this is more of just a trading vehicle versus holding onto this for any store of value. Okay, last but not least, a new coin, TRX or Tron. It's one of the major coins in terms of being the top 10 or top 20. Generally speaking, I wouldn't hold any coins, at least from a long term point of view, anything below the top 20, because at that point, like I think most of them don't have any utility, or any significant volume. Sorry, there will be volume, but I think really it's just the trust factor, and the ability to really understand the utility of the coins. At that point, it kind of gets convoluted, and just generally, I kind of just want to stay with the majors in the crypto space, just for peace of mind. Yeah, you could potentially have significant alpha by buying those, smaller volume, smaller market capitalization coins, but you could have significant swings in any given day, or any given hour, that most investors or most individuals can't necessarily tolerate, unless they're trading small dollar amounts. Okay, so when I look at Tron, nothing really captures my eye, other than to say that we've kind of just been consolidating within this large area for the last, what is that, 3 4 months. Not really making any significant headway, but the fact that we're on a -4 of 9 count, um, there's some potential that we could traced downwards, but the fact that we've been kind of holding this level kind of suggests to me that I think the downside, um, there may not be any further downside, and I think we could potentially creep back up to this 26-cent level from where we are, which is what is that, 3 cents? So it's about a 10% move up to the upside. So I think it's decent. Risk reward, and if you're looking to get long, I think you set your stop loss in and around this 21-cent level, potentially playing for 3 cents to the upside. So that's 3-to-1 risk level risk, which is favorable in my opinion. And the fact that so yes, we're currently in the process of completing a -9, but we're also still looking for the completion of a +13 to the upside. And so because we've kind of just been consolidating for 3 to 4 months, but we haven't breached 21 cents. I think odds are that you could get a favorable bounce to this 26-cent level, at which point you could potentially exit and take your 10% gain that way. So nothing really stands out to me at this point in time. I think it's a relatively low risk trade. So long as you set your stop loss at 21 cents and you put your take profit level at 26 cents, it's worth taking a shot. And yes, even though MACD continues to show bearish momentum, the fact that the lagging line also happened to hold its propulsion exhaustion level, again, to me, leads me to believe that we could potentially see further upside in the near future. So that's what I'm looking at in terms of Tron. I don't have a position in Tron, but it might be something that I will look to capture to the upside in the near future, or by the time I post the next video. But I am going to be away from YouTube for a few days just because I will be traveling. But I promise to post with a little bit more frequency crypto. And something new to the channel starting in April is a weekly stock market review, looking at the different sectors, subsectors of the S&P 500, go through a little bit of what I'm looking at and how I'm investing in that particular space. So something to look forward to. That's it for today. I just wanted to bring back to you, the viewers, a little bit more insight into what I'm looking at. I'm not really doing anything at the moment other than just managing the positions that I'm in with Bitcoin and Ethereum. I am hoping for one final flush for Ethereum and Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is a much tougher, or I may have to wait longer for Bitcoin to ultimately get to that $69,000 level, if at all. But I think there is a particular level that should price not go down, then that'll just give me indication to start buying and just continue my investment plan from that point of view. So that's it. Thanks everybody for taking a look. This has been an awesome video for me to share, giving you all my insights. Again, if you like the videos, hit that subscribe button. Support the channel by turning on notifications, like the video, and let me know what crypto coins you're interested in looking at, possibly investing in. I can give you my analysis. And one other thing is, I am in the process of creating a subscription-based newsletter specifically for the stock market. Um, so I have a few ideas that I'm planning in the future, but for the time being, it's just crypto and stock market review on the YouTube channel, with future developments for newsletters in the near future. All right, so with that, I'll end the video. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you in the next one. Millennial Trader out.